Welcome to BBC's Corporate Showcase, where we spotlight some of Australia's most exciting companies shaping the future. In today's episode, we're joined by Wellnex Life, a health and wellness company with an ambitious growth strategy and a dual listing on the London Stock Exchange. Our Associate Director of Corporate Finance, Jack Colreavy, speaks with Managing Director Zack Bozinovski and Non-Executive Chair George Tambassis to explore what's next for Wellnex and why investors are paying close attention. Let's dive into the conversation.
George, let's start with you. You're a relative new addition to the team. Do you want to just quickly go over your background and what attracted you to join the Wellnex team?
I started as a non-executive director or chairman of the board at Wellnex Life in September 24. So I've been around for a few months. And my attraction was the range of products that Wellnex Life had in their portfolio and potentially some other ones that may appear. Certainly with Wellnex Life, one of their biggest distribution chains or distribution outlets for those products are through pharmacy, and I'm a pharmacist. I've been owning and operating pharmacists for over 30 years around Victoria. I've run our advocacy group or union called the Pharmacy Guild of Australia for many, many years. I've been on various boards at the Pharmacy Guild, culminating as the national president over seven and a half years. I'm currently the state president of the Pharmacy Guild. So when it comes to a company like Wellnex Life, it's a good fit for me to assist them at the board level. As you said, as a non-executive director, I've sat on boards of similar sort of areas of business like Wellnex Life, for example. I did almost a year on the API board a while back there when they ran companies or they were the franchisor of Priceline, for example. And they also ran a pharmaceutical wholesaler called API, of course. While I was on that board, we sold to Wesfarmers, and that became Wesfarmers Health. Also sat on the board of King's Transport for about a year. They too are a logistics company that had various contracts, but one of the contracts in particular was delivering medicines from the Sigma wholesaling company to pharmacies all around Australia. So my fit with Wellnex Life is because of my experiences through operating pharmacies and various companies I've helped in the past.
Yeah, I mean, you just rattled off some great experience there, and no doubt the board is very lucky to have you there, helping out the team. So welcome aboard, belatedly. Big transaction occurred for Wellnex recently, finally successfully dual listing on the London Stock Exchange. Very exciting. What the London Stock Exchange does for Wellnex is open up a huge new market to bring in institutional demand from UK investors. You were also able to raise some money. Zack, tell me what was the use of proceeds and what does it do for Wellnex moving forward?
Jack, yeah, we had a successful time in the UK, and obviously the company is now listed. All the money that was raised as part of the most recent raise was used by the company to really strengthen up its balance sheet. First and foremost, we extinguished the deferred consideration payment for the Painaway brand, which we bought back in December 2023. And then funds have also been used to extinguish the convertible note. Those two debts sort of contribute about over $1 million of interest to the company. So it's exciting that we can extinguish those two debts, reduce those interest payments, but most importantly, help strengthen the balance sheet for the company's next phase of growth.
Can you go into a bit more detail? What does that look like internationally?
Yeah, on an international basis, we are in very deep dialogue with our distribution partner about taking the Wellnex brands into the UK market initially. We're very excited about our Painaway, Wakey Wakey, and 99 brands in particular. We genuinely believe they have a strong right to succeed in the UK market. We've done a bit of scoping over there, and again, we genuinely believe there's nothing that will directly compete with brands of that ilk. The key is to find a very strong distribution partner who knows the UK landscape across pharmacy and grocery. and we're really confident that which will obviously contribute to the company's revenue growth going forward, but more importantly will give us that company presence in a market that wants to really support Wellnex Life.
Yeah, all right. That's great for the brands. What about sort of on the IP side? How's the rollout of the Haleon relationship in the UK been going?
Yeah, the Panadol soft gels, liquid soft gels were launched. It was late February, early March, and initial feedback is that they are going very well, which is great. Obviously, very early in the launch phase, and we'll get a better picture of how they're going to perform probably over the next 2 or 3 months. But suffice to say, the launch in the UK continues to generate dialogue with Haleon about other opportunities in the European market. So it's exciting that on the back of their launch in the UK, that it's garnering additional interest for additional markets, for additional products in the European markets for Haleon.
Yeah, very exciting and a great business for Wellnex. Let's just come back domestically real quick. The brands have been up and running for a few years now. How do you see the growth moving forward in domestic sales for those brands?
Yeah, we're really excited what's happening in the local market. We'll take Painaway, for example. The most latest quarterly scan data showed that we're scanning about 8% more for the same time last year, which is great. It's a tough market out there. We see a lot of low-hanging fruit for Painaway, also for Wakey and 99. As George mentioned earlier, we're excited with bedding down those products, but more importantly, really excited now for Clean Balance Sheet to look at some new innovation and bring that to the categories in the Australian grocery and pharmacy retailers. So we're really excited with what we've got on hand with Wakey, 99 and Painaway in particular in the domestic market. A lot of upside, a lot of growth going forward. We just gained some additional distribution of those brands in Coles and Woolworths, for example, which we knew was a great opportunity for us. Obviously, New Zealand's kicked off last year. That's going from strength to strength. So we're really focused on ensuring we maximise those brands that we have and acquired and launched ourselves. But also we've now got one eye to the future and launching some really innovative products in really dynamic categories by the end of this year, which will again help with revenue, but more importantly, the products we're looking at launching are higher gross margin products, which will drive additional profitability for the company going forward.
Yeah, again, all great news. And I know at the moment there's a huge sort of running trend and people getting into running and things like that. And that generally leads to a few sore limbs and things like that, as I'm well attested to. So I'm sure plenty of new runners out there will be going into their Coles and Woolies and Price Lines and pharmacies to pick up some Painaway. Look, guys, thank you so much for the update and for the time on the call. George, look, I'll leave the last remarks with you. Do you have anything you want to share with our viewers and listeners on Wellnex?
Well, not so much on Wellnex, but obviously it links into Wellnex and sort of further on your points. With all the current issues in terms of the cost of living crisis, the market uncertainty with our friends in the US, our products are stable products. They're like Zack said, they're filtering through big suppliers like retailers like Coles and Woolies. The pharmacy market is really stable at the moment with what Chemist Warehouse has done with Sigma. We've got a new 5-year agreement with the federal government that's got at least 4 years to run. Most pharmacies in Australia, 6,000 pharmacies, have got a 4-year runway of guaranteed income through the PBS. So we work through those particular streams and we see all upside, even though the cost of living crisis is having impact on discretionary spend. Our products aren't really discretionary. As you rightfully said, people are still trying to stay fit and healthy. So our products are in that stream. So we see a positive outlook moving forward, even though, as you know, there's a lot of issues in the world at the moment. Wellnex Life's got a portfolio of products that should be stable.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to be in the healthcare industry because it is quite defensive and it's great for shareholders. Well, look, thanks so much for your time and your insight.
That wraps up this episode of BPC's Corporate Showcase. A huge thank you to Zack, George and Jack for such a valuable discussion. Stay up to date with Wellnex Life. Subscribe to the Wellnex Life Chairman's List via the link in the description.